Temporary Australians is proudly brought to you by Harley Davidson Australia, Fraser Motorcycles, Brotherhood CMC, Victory Motorcycles, the Australian Motorcycle Expo, Austrikes and Think Right.
Hello and welcome to Temporary Australians. I'm Jonesy.
And I'm Hirsty.
On the show this week...
On Temporary Australians, we go for a ride in the Adelaide Hills. We find out why Mick Corboy is a top cop. We discover how popular tattoos have become. Stunt rider Matt Mingay reveals his dating secret. Jonesy checks out an automatic off-road motorcycle. We discover what old school motorcycling is all about. We visit the Talk restaurant and check in at the Victory Show and Shine.
You know, that looks great. And you know what? I'm starving. I'm so hungry.
Mate, why don't we go into the Talk restaurant and grab a bite?
Oh, yum. Oh, you know what? I left my wallet at home.
I'll look after you, mate. It's all right.
Are you sure?
Yeah, why not?
Thanks, mate.
It's a beautiful day in Adelaide and I feel like going for a ride. So I found some Christian biker mates and they're going to take us up into the Adelaide Hills. Wayne, we're in the Adelaide Hills. It hasn't taken long to get out of town.
No, mate, it's just a few kilometres up here and this is Windy Point. It's not too windy now, it's a bit warm, but the view is magnificent, but the roads here are awesome.
Where are you taking us?
We're going to go through Clarendon and then we're going to head to Meadows and then down to Strath.
Are they very popular rides down here?
They are extremely popular. I'd say just about anywhere along about 100k stretch, mate, is pretty good riding.
Well, it is famous over on the East Coast where I hail from, so I'm really looking forward to this ride, mate. Let's have some fun. I have heard for quite a while how the hills are just great to go for a ride in, but I had no idea how much fun it is. You guys deliberately keep it quiet?
Oh, of course. I enjoy coming over every now and again because I live on the west coast of South Australia, so this is very different for me. And it's a good ride, and the twists and the turns.
Don't matter where you live in Adelaide, you're no more than about 20 minutes from being in the hills.
The Adelaide Hills are the best that there are, providing you're on two wheels. The thing is to stay upright and just enjoy the ride. It's fantastic up here. The weather, the roads, and two wheels.
We share the road with cyclists as well as motorcyclists, and we're okay with that, providing they, you know, do.
Keep out of your way, yeah.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, no, it's great. There's room for everybody.
What's the best motorcycle road in Australia? The Adelaide Hills. I'm here talking to Assistant Police Commissioner Mick Corboy. As you can tell from his uniform here, he's a high-ranking police officer in New South Wales. More importantly, he's a Harley rider.
Yeah, good morning. How are you this morning? Very proud Harley rider too, as well as a proud police officer.
Good on you, mate. How long have you been riding?
I've been riding since 1972. My first bike was a Ag 100 Yamaha. I was trying to work out the other day, I think I've probably had nearly 25, 26 bikes since then, and I've currently got 3. My wife says it keeps me out of trouble, but probably gets me into trouble more than it gets me out of trouble.
So now that you've got 3, you have to tell us what's your favourite one?
Oh, I think my Road Glide is probably my favourite.
Now, in terms of police motorcycling, how big is it in Australia, do you reckon, at a recreational level?
I think over the last 4 or 5 years, it's really got a renewed interest. They like getting out and going for rides, and they like having coffee, and they like, you know, just hanging out together. And I think that's a result of the police culture, but it's also a result of the motorcycle culture. So the two have collided quite well.
Has the police motorcycling movement been able to integrate well, do you think, into mainstream motorcycling?
Oh, I don't think we've got a movement actually, it's per se. There's a few clubs around, but generally, most of the police motorcyclists are just police people who ride motorbikes on weekends. So I think that, things like the Blue Liners and the Blue Knights, and I noticed there's fire brigades people, and that's a bit of a reflection on the American culture where the police do that sort of thing. There's some good parts of motorcycle club culture that we like, and there's also some stuff that's not so good. So we want to make sure we represent the normality in life, the collegiality of motorcycling.
So it sounds like you're really developing a way for police to be in the motorcycling culture in a way that you're all comfortable with.
Yeah, that's right, and it's developing a culture slowly, but it's also making sure that people know that we're riding motorcycles because we like riding motorcycles and we like getting out together, and there's nothing sinister behind that at all.
Blacktown Tattoo Shop's been a fixture in Sunnyhole Road for many years, and you've been part of the tattooing culture for a long time. Have you seen many changes during your time?
Oh, there's been massive changes. It's become more acceptable now with the TV shows and things like that, and it's very normal now for people to have tattoos where 10, 20 years ago it was looked down upon. People still look down upon it, but not as much. Essentially, tattooing was seen as a way of showing that you were tough. But now it's very broad, the reason people get involved in tattoos. Yeah, anything now that you want to be tattooed, we can put on. 10, 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have as good equipment as we have now. So you could try your best, but you couldn't just get out what you wanted. Nowadays, whatever you want to put, you can put there. Well, since I've been involved in motorcycling, which is about 35 years, the whole culture of tattoos seems to have changed from people trying to demonstrate their toughness to now it's very much an art form and people making personal statements.
Yeah, and that's true, and we recognise that, and I think you'll find when the new policy comes out, we will reflect that. You can't say this certain type of people are coming in because the next person that walks through the door could be someone's grandmother.
So young and old, male and female, different ethnic groups as well?
All broad spectrum. There's no one certain genre of people, everyone's different.
That's what Harley's all about. It's that whole customisation and just, the personal touch. It's your own piece of artwork. I guess that's sort of the tie-in there where you said the tattoo show as well, doing something that's a little different from someone else, and that's exactly what our brand's about.
It's interesting about the tattoo show, I think, because it does indicate just how big a part body art plays in the biker culture.
It's a great connection that we've got, and from whether it's the wall behind us with all the artwork to body tattooing, or some of this customisation on the paint jobs you see on Harley Davidson. So that's what we're all about. It's great.
What's your tip for young people these days who are considering tattoos, given you've had all these years of experience?
Same advice I give my boys. Think about it long and hard. Think about the long-term commitment you're making. I bought them each a tattoo for when they turned 17. They've thought about what they want on. They've got Anderson stuff, clan stuff. They've got personal stuff that relates to them. When I say Anderson stuff, they've got Anderson written on them, but they've also got the family motto, which is Stand Sure. And so I've just told them, and the same advice I give anyone: think about it, because it's for life. You're scarred for life, in a good way.
Now we're at the Harley 110-year celebrations down here in Williamstown, and we happen to come across somebody who probably should be arrested, but for some reason or other is getting paid to do stunts on bikes for a lot of people. How did you manage that, mate?
Oh, mate, just right time, right place. I've been doing it for about 14 years now, full time, and busier than ever. Yeah, nearly every weekend I'm doing a crazy show somewhere, and I'm just loving every bit of it.
You've done a lot of stunt work, and I believe you even have done it for Tom Cruise.
Yeah, no, when I can squeeze it in, because I've got a pretty busy schedule. I do a few commercials and TV shows and movies. Got the call up to double Tom Cruise through Mission Impossible 2, which was great fun, great experience, and good bit of publicity. So yeah, it was good.
You seem to get a great reaction from the crowd when you do all this.
Yeah, no, it's good. And the Harley guys are fantastic because they can really appreciate how hard it is to do on a Harley Davidson, because just about every single one of them are here riding a Harley. And so, the whole weekend they get guys coming going, how the hell do you do that on a Harley? So, it's good, it's great, they really appreciate it.
How did you manage to talk your girlfriend into that stunt? I've got to ask.
She didn't have a choice in the matter.
I'm sure she had a lot of choice, mate. Tell us the truth.
Yeah, no, I just I hit her up and said, do you want to get on the bike? And she's kind of like, oh, okay, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to try and kill you.
You failed miserably, mate. She's walking around here and she looks really healthy.
She's a great chick, and she was all over it, and she loves it now. So first day doing it ever, so it's good.
So what sort of events do you do your stunts at these days?
Mate, I do virtually every major motorsport event. Do all the V8 supercars, and things like bike GPs and the superbike races and power cruises and Harley events and you name it. I do it. The one I'm just riding on today was my original one because I've got two. It's my number one bike, and that one's done over 1,200 shows. And never even rebuilt the engine and touched it. Just changed the oil and plugs in it, and just keeps on going.
That's essentially a stock bike.
Stock as a rock, mate. Stock as a rock with an exhaust system, snazzy little flamethrower, and a few bars and extra brakes welded on here and there, and away it went.
One wonders about how much work goes into these bikes, and to actually see one in the flesh, how cool would that be? Well, what are the chances? Tell us about this Husky.
Well, this is a 1970 model cross country. I've been riding these Husqvarna since 1976.
Geez, you must be tired.
I'm very tired and I'm feeling pretty old. My dad introduced me to Husqvarnas in 1976. So we have manuals and automatics, and we have practically one of every model from 76 to 84.
This is a manual one or an automatic?
This one's an automatic. This is very similar to the one that we featured in VMX magazine in issue 42. And we did write a detailed article about the pros and cons of the automatic. Some people love them, some people really hate them.
Why aren't motorcycles automatic?
I think from a maintenance perspective, they're very high maintenance, okay? They're rather expensive to manufacture, and they are very costly to sell.
As a motocross bike, is it easier to ride on the track or harder?
It requires a different skill set to ride the automatic because you have no engine braking. They're very fast, but when you come into the corner and you roll off the throttle, they actually accelerate because there's no engine braking as such. So you really need to retrain yourself. But once you get used to it, they're very fast.
As an enduro rider, when you're riding in the day, as they say, which one did you prefer?
I actually preferred the 420 automatic over here. It had a lot more horsepower and it was lower to the ground, and it was just a more comfortable bike to ride with a much more reliable engine.
Well, Rob, thanks for having us around. And automatics would be great for a beginner's bike, wouldn't it?
I think they'd be really good, Jonesy. And I tell you what, you should come and have a ride with us this afternoon.
Well, we're at the back of Strathalbyn now, which is somewhere in eastern South Australia. Now, Sean here from Long Riders and I, we may be old school, but one thing we both love is to go on rides with our mates. Do you think old school means going on rides together?
I think old school means getting on your bike and riding. And we ride to live, not live to ride. Well, but they both come into it, but it's getting out there and riding your bike and enjoying life.
With your brothers.
With your brothers, yeah.
Now, we did talk about old school, Macca, and your clubhouse really fits into that ethos.
It does, yeah. It's a country retreat. And it's somewhere where we can come and relax and just be with the brothers. It's not flash, it's not fancy, but we love it.
Now you're about 90 k's out of Adelaide here. Do you get a lot of the club guys coming up to events here?
We do. We put on a major bike show once a year, and we get quite a few blokes from the other clubs come up for the show, and people know where we are.
It's a place for families too.
It is, yeah, very much so. We're a very family-orientated club. We have family events. We have church events. So yeah, it is. It's a place where anyone can feel comfortable. Hopefully, that's what we want it to be.
The battle against the anti-association laws is spread across the country, but Long Riders in South Australia are actually the first Christian motorcycle club to take them on, to actually speak out against the government. What do you see is wrong with the laws?
Basically, I think making criminals out of people that aren't criminals by association, I think is hugely wrong. And I work in Aboriginal community, and that happened very much in this state in the 60s and 70s, where the consorting laws actually made criminals out of people who weren't. And so in my book, that's just plain wrong.
How long have you been a Christian?
About 25 years.
And what was it that moved you to, I guess, find faith in Christ?
I think I was really searching for something, and I think I just got to a place where I was unhappy. You know, drinking and drugging and living a fast lifestyle wasn't giving me what I needed. So I think it was, it was a matter of I had nowhere else to go, and I turned to God. Had an experience with Jesus, and I haven't looked back since.
How has it changed your life? I mean, we talk a lot in the bike scene about, God's rule and that, but what difference did finding Him make that in your life?
And I'm certainly no saint, and I'm certainly no super duper Christian, but it definitely underpins what I do and why I go about things the way that I go about things. The whole purpose for our involvement and our friendships with other clubs, is not about supporting criminal behaviour. It's about supporting blokes to do the right thing and be good men and good fathers and good husbands and good, people in society.
If you happen to be going on a ride and you're having to wait a long time for the organisers to turn up, then what better place to go to than Fraser's at Concord, because we're right next door. It's a Talk Bar and Grill, so you can have a meal, have a cuppa while you're waiting for the run to start. Now, Jonesy and I have come here for meetings in planning for Temporary Australians. I brought my family here for meals and met a number of biker people here just to chat about all things motorcycling. So it's a really good place, it's really friendly, and it's the sort of place you can go to in all your leathers with your helmet after you've been on a long road trip or if you're just about to go on one.
We meet here for some of our rides, usually on the weekend, and when it's open in the morning before a ride, we might have a coffee, and then such as now after the ride, we gather back here and have something to eat, some lunch and a bit of a chat.
I've not come across any other motorcycle dealership that's got its own grill, a restaurant I guess is what you'd have to say, where you can come after a ride and where you can bring your family too.
Yes, it's an interesting concept, and Fraser's have been the first one to do that, and it seems to be working quite well so far. But, when they said this was what their plan was for the new dealership, some people were a bit sceptical about it, but so far it seems to be working well.
Guys, is this a good place to come as a family?
Yeah, we love coming here because we love going and looking at the motorbikes as well while we're here, and he really likes it. We actually, when we came here not long ago, I actually ended up buying a bike myself too, so it's a good combo, and we love motorcycles as well, and the food's pretty good, so yeah, it's great.
They tell me it's raining in Melbourne, but here in Sydney the weather's beautiful. And what do you do when the weather's beautiful on a Saturday in Sydney? You go for a ride and you go to a show and shine. So we're down here at Victory Motorcycles in Ashfield, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to have a look at some bikes, talk to some people, and have a lot of motorcycling fun.
There's a lot of new owners in Sydney that haven't sort of met with each other and so on, and we thought it would be a good idea, first day of spring, beautiful sunny day, to bring them all together, get their bikes out of the mothballs after the winter season and bring them out on display and just show what Victory's done here in the last year and a half in Sydney. We're very impressed and very happy with the turnout. There's a lot of owners that rang me through the week and said, can't quite make it, which is unfortunate, so we'll do this again probably in 6 months' time.
Is the owners group very active in Sydney?
It has been, yes. It's a growing base, and it's gathering a bit of a critical mass at the moment, and you've seen there's some very passionate owners here today. Even a couple of guys from Melbourne drove all the way up.
You may remember from the first series we did a story on the Bling Brothers. Well, we've run into George in Sydney. He's come up here with his bike for the Victory Show and Shine. G'day George, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about the trophy you won here, mate.
Well, I won top custom out of the Show and Shine today, so that's pretty good for me.
Have you been to a few of these sorts of events with Victory?
This is the first one that Victory's held, so we came up from Melbourne just to show them what Melbourne guys can do.
How did you get into Victory motorcycles, Harry?
Oh, geez. It was a toss-up between restoring my old bike or walking into Victory and falling in love with one of these after riding a few different ones. I fell in love with the Jackpot until I saw the colour. I wasn't going to buy one, but then I saw this colour and just went crazy.
Seems like Victory bikes are easy to buy parts for and just fit on and customise in the way that you want?
Oh, look, there's readily available parts and they're all great, and you can basically design them to your taste. For a cruiser and such a big bike, they handle outstandingly. I mean, I've scraped the pegs multiple times leaning into corners, scared the crap out of me, but yeah, very comfortable and very safe.
Well, what a great show, Hirsty. And man, I am so full. I can't eat another thing.
Mate, those 5 serves of ribs you had in there, you know.
What are you saying?
You're fat.
Right. Okay. Well, with that knowledge, I'll go and get onto a treadmill, and we'll catch you next week on Temporary Australians.
See ya.